Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel Why Daily Spoiler. Victor goes too far. Lily kidnap him.
Phyllis shocking attack. Victor hostages Lily. They rush Phyllis to the hospital. She is stabilized by medical technicians. Despite her bruises and concussion, she is alert enough to demand to know who did it. She mumbles names, but nothing specific. When Jack, Nikki, and Sharon arrive in a hurry, the hospital room turns into a magnet. Jack has a pale face. Nikki is enraged. Sharon alternates between being angry and being tender. Recorded outside the emergency entrance, Phyllis's first public comment is measured. "I don't know who attacked me. I'm hurt, but I'll be all right." That composed public demeanor falters in private. She feels angry and afraid. Jack, business rivals, and rejected boyfriends are among her foes that she keeps thinking about. A spiral of rumor starts. The list of suspects. The city of Genoa is modest, yet full with resentment. Because soap operas are deliciously complex, Victor Newman, who is notorious for his ability to intimidate and his raw temper, is on the short list of people who had motive, at least in the public's mind. Other early suspects are predictable. Business rivals who were afraid of Phyllis's return, a resentful lover, a hired thug working for someone with a larger grudge. The week before, Victor and Phyllis had a highly public altercation when she threatened to pressure Jabot into a merger that would have displeased Newman interests. Every late-night caller lists him as their first priority. The cops start looking for prints under the direction of a competent detective character. The parking lot security footage has been intentionally tampered with. Early indications of professional meddling are revealed by the investigation. Rising tension, Victor's rage. Victor's fury. When Victor learns about the attack, he becomes enraged. When he arrives at the hospital, Phyllis is pale and covered in bandages. He walks. He is furious that his name is being mentioned in rumors. In private, he tells his aide to make sure no one in this city feels they can hurt the Newmans, but in public, he orders security to find whoever did this. That statement lands like thunder. It is unsettling to see Victor by Phyllis's bedside. He snarls inquiries at nurses regarding the timetable without touching her. Victor is calmed and the protectiveness is stoked when Phyllis, who is clear enough to sense the storm in him, gets up and says, "I don't think you had anything to do with this." Lily's caution. Lily Winters reaches out to Phyllis and Nikki. She has a past with Victor through the Newman circles, and her marriage to Kane and charitable endeavors make her a sensitive political actor. Victor uses a tone that verges on begging when he phones Lily personally to request updates. Lily is cautious and caring, but she feels that Victor is a different person who may go to great lengths to keep someone he considers family safe or to manage negative publicity. Victor calls Lily at an uncomfortable hour and urges, "Don't let anyone talk to Phyllis alone. Safeguard her." The call echoes. Lily becomes more uneasy. A creaming action. Victor takes Lily. The abduction. Victor crosses a line because he is tired with the police's lethargic pace and afraid that anything that happens to Phyllis could destroy his world's carefully crafted alliances. He concludes that he needs answers immediately. He believes, rightly or incorrectly, that someone in Lily's charitable circle may know something, or that the city is a sea of moving parts, and that applying pressure to someone with power is the quickest way to get the truth. Victor encounters Lily in the quiet of the early morning at the Newman estate. The discussion about devotion and protection is strong, though initially not physically aggressive. In an act of panic rather than calculated planning, Victor locks a side door and, in a move that horrifies the servants, pulls Lily into a secret study and informs her she cannot leave until he is sure that the truth has been discovered. A hostage situation develops, as Victor plans to keep Lily in captivity long enough to coerce confessions and accelerate the discovery of the truth. If he obtains what he needs, he promises to let her depart safely. Lily is frightened, wounded, and determined. She starts making backup plans as she is aware of Victor's strategies. Panic and news leaks. Before a public announcement is issued, someone from the Newman residence calls in a panic. When word spreads among the local media that Victor Newman is detaining Lily Winters inside his house, the story takes off. Every newsroom in the city has its phones ringing. Public response is complicated by a tense detail, that Victor says he is protecting Lily and not hurting her, but the visuals are incriminating. A billionaire detaining a well-known charity leader against her will. The cops show up to Newman Tower within hours to look into a missing persons complaint that Lily's husband and the foundation board filed. This is now a criminal situation, possible kidnapping or false imprisonment, rather than a closed, private power move. Standoff and examination. The negotiation starts. A perimeter is set up by the police. Reporters congregate on the lawn of Newman. When granted access to a phone under strict supervision, Lily is able to send a single text message to Kane. I'm safe. Victor, on the other hand, declines to talk to cameras, only posting a succinct message through legal counsel regarding private family affairs. He isn't himself. Don't come rushing in. That text serves as a lightning rod, making Kane angry and conflicted about whether to believe Lily's warning or charge in. In the public eye, Victor's motivations become less clear. Some see him as a desperate father defending his family, while others believe he is acting illegally and morally. He is both to Lily, a man she admires for his loyalty and a man she does not condone for his tactics. The strategies of the detective. The detective job gets more intense. The cops try to persuade Victor to give Lily up willingly. They start by assembling a team for crisis negotiations. The prosecutor/DA, a recurrent figure with a strong backbone, is brought in to offer advice on quick fixes that respect the law without resorting to violence. By portraying the case as an internal family welfare investigation, Victor's attorney tries to gain time, but the police are cautious because Lily's husband and public pressure require prompt action. Lily and Victor had lengthy, tense talks within the house. Victor begs for more time, defends his feelings of vulnerability, and shares humanizing aspects of his dread and shame. In an effort to prevent things from getting worse, Lily is cautious and tries to calm and reason with him. The scene turns into a heated psychological chess match between Lily's moral clarity and Victor's paternalism. A razor's edge, uncovered truths. Breakthrough in the attack by Phyllis. At the same time, the police and Claire investigators make a significant forensic discovery regarding Phyllis's parking lot attack. The tampered camera was not a simple act of vandalism, but rather a professional tampering. A hired thug linked to a vendor recently fired by Phyllis for alleged fraud is revealed via a pawn shop ledger and a sales slip discovered at a nearby skip. The vendor's history suggests that the fixer is a shadowy individual who has worked for a number of corporate entities throughout the years. One contact can be found in the fixer's phone records, an unlisted number connected to a fast-talking salesman who offered digital security services to a rainmaking public relations advisor with a history of involvement in the Newman and Abbott conflicts. The hint implies that someone wanted Phyllis out of the game, therefore the attack was more complex than a simple retribution job. The real puppeteer. The investigators discover a transfer from an account connected to an offshore consulting firm that was recently utilized by a competitor that benefited from Phyllis's absence at a crucial Jabot vote by comparing bank records with vendor invoices. An indirect route, a third party hired to cause chaos, is shown by the fingerprints. The probable mastermind? As leverage in a hostile acquisition, a rival corporation aims to undermine both Jabot and Newman. Phyllis was collateral, which deepens the plot. Although this information does not absolve Victor of the hostage-taking, it does reinterpret motive and heat. The incident was staged by someone else to appear to be an inside family attack. Victor, who had long used his own brand of illegal force to combat corporate predators, saw the world as full of adversaries everywhere, and his fear led to a horrible action. Arrest and rescue. The negotiator's action and Lily's bravery. When a professional crisis negotiator is brought in, tensions approach a breaking point. The negotiator gets a concession. If Victor is guaranteed he won't be handcuffed right away for domestic reasons and the cops don't force entry, Victor will release Lily. Detective persuades both parties that a nonviolent release is in everyone's best interests, despite the DA's objections. Victor hesitates as he and Lily enter the great room in a delicate, captured moment on camera. Lily takes advantage of the situation to force Victor to release his grip. "This doesn't make you a hero, Victor," she says softly but firmly. "You broke the law because of this." Her straightforward and compassionate remarks cut something. "You have to answer for that." At last, Victor breaks. He lets her go to the cops and opens the door. Charges and arrest. Victor is brought into custody right away. The accusations are serious: coercion and illegal incarceration. The DA believes he has a solid case because of his public image and the tangled optics. The public does not accept Victor's lawyer's assertion that he was behaving in a state of mind similar to momentary insanity or acute distress. Rather, it is a legal ploy that will be tested in court. Detectives discover the fixer's connections at the same time and start to piece together the plot behind Phyllis's attack, which will eventually result in the indictment of the shadow operator for the competing company. This will deal a short-term blow to corporate predators, but set the stage for a longer legal battle. The media, trials, and family ruin. The criminal case. The arraignment of Victor is a national event. The court is crowded. Victor sits in his cage like a lion. He makes a not guilty plea. The prosecution aims to prove purpose using Victor's own recorded calls, witness statements, and the hostage text. Victor's defense contends that he thought he was defending someone. They advocate for mental state mitigation and leniency. Family dynamics are shattered by the criminal case. While secretly incensed about Victor's decisions, Nikki publicly supports him. Victoria is pragmatist and wounded. She wants to halt the bleeding and safeguard family interests. Nick struggles to balance his natural tendency to defend against the fact that he must take responsibility for his outrageous actions. Lily speaks about the complicated, respectful moments that humanized Victor and made the prosecution's task morally challenging, in addition to what transpired while she was in custody. Although her evidence is skillfully written to strike a balance between sympathy and the truth, it also undermines a defense that would contend Victor was defending family members. The repercussions for the company. The reputation of Newman Enterprises and its associated charitable endeavors is negatively impacted. The board moves swiftly to separate personal behavior from business governance. Victor's sole authority over charity accounts is restricted by a temporary restraining order. The business declares an impartial investigation into its PR and ethics practices. Reactions to Phyllis's gradual recovery and return to public life are not entirely positive. Some claim Victor committed a horrible deed and demand that he be charged. Others speculate that he might have been clumsily attempting to assist. Phyllis is unvarnished but unyielding. She will demand the facts about the attack's mastermind, but she will not condone unlawful activity. Divided city, changed characters, public views, and individual attempts at reconciliation. Social media trends show Genoa City split between the hashtag #FreeVictor and hashtag #JusticeForLily factions. Salon callers debate the idea that ends justify means in a primitive way. Calm and proper process are demanded by civic leaders and clergy. In an effort at symbolic healing, Phyllis, Lily, and others organize a public vigil for neighborhood safety. Victor's incarceration is shocking for both individuals and businesses. His health becomes a topic of conversation. The legal system and the gradual accumulation of human limitations now apply to the once tall physical man. While some family members come together, others reconsider their relationship with Newman. There are open wounds from the arc. Reuniting. Lines change as the study progresses. Lily only pays Victor a single visit to read him a letter from the Foundation's children, who say they will overlook his panic if he will put in the effort to be held morally and legally accountable. This emotionally charged scenario demonstrates how legal crises are transformed into spiritual reckonings in soap operas. Despite being a victim, Phyllis is realistic, traumatized, and committed to preventing children from losing programs due to adult transgressions. She assists in leading a donor restoration program. Her fortitude transcends personal vengeance and becomes civic. Pleas, verdict, and the long tail. The decision. Victor's trial is public and messy. Depending on the writer's preferences, the jury finds him guilty of unlawful imprisonment or in a negotiated plea deal to lesser counts. in a decision that simultaneously penalizes and ensures the character's dramatic future use. He is given a conditional sentence that may include community work, required counseling, and a brief stint of house arrest at a secure institution. Some argue that the sentence is too light, while others argue that it maintains the show's ability to use Victor in various ways in the future. On allegations of conspiracy and assault, the fixer and the competing agent who attacked Phyllis are charged and ultimately found guilty. In its slow manner, justice is served, but at a price. Reintegration and aftermath. Victor comes out reprimanded. He must relearn how to negotiate power from a position of accountability after losing some legal rights. Awkward care is how Lily, Kane, Phyllis, and others heal. Victor returns to public life with greater caution. Ever practical, Phyllis uses her newfound notoriety to support victim rights and better security measures for neighborhood organizations. Lily resumes her charitable activities, but she now advocates for protections much more vigorously. The reason this arc functions. Moral complexity. The storyline rejects a binary assessment. Victor's deed is illegal, but his motivations are murky. Viewers find that moral strain to be both ethically rich and spicy for serial dramas. Realistic consequences. Crime follows a plausible trajectory that honors institutions while also highlighting human frailty. Police, court, punishment, corporate governance consequences, and personal rehabilitation. Character-driven stakes. Every action. Phyllis's ambition, Victor's paternalism, Lily's compassion, and the intricate webs of the city develops out of character. It's not just spectacle for the sake of spectacle. Long-term payoff. The storyline plants political and legal plot lines, transforms relationships, influences boardroom dynamics, and paves the way for redemption or revenge beats in the future. Future steps. Redemption or retaliation for Victor. The man who suffered such a great loss might come back with a different strategy, a more gentle touch or a more subdued, vindictive goal. Is he going to play the long game? Phyllis's campaign. Phyllis uses her experience to push for a safety and transparency program that challenges long-standing corporate philanthropic practices. Lily's new platform. Lily transforms her personal suffering into public service by extending her role into enhanced negotiation training for crisis teams and civic advocacy for hostage victims. The return of the real puppeteer. Despite being convicted, the CEO of the competing company issues a threat from behind bars, suggesting that the group that attempted to overthrow Jabot may still have supporters in the shadows. Love and law. Relationships change. Betrayals are never forgotten. Yet alliances made during times of crisis might result in surprising love or political combinations.